Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So as usual, let's just get right into it and talk about what the hell just happened. Man, guys, we are in, I say this every video, but we are in a wild market. My goodness, this is insane. Like, you know how usually people say, and I said this before, how people always say how it's, I think it's like the stairs up, but then elevator down. We are living in the complete opposite right now. We took the stairs down and then we took the elevator with a rocket jetpack on top of that as well, just straight up, just across the market, not just Tesla, just across the market, which is like weird because again, it's usually the opposite. So there's stuff about this market that's a little sussy, but we'll talk about all that right now. So let's just get into it. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. Let's just get right into it. So SPY QQQ, first and foremost, it's a very confusing market. There's a few things that are obvious, but there's a few things that are like not so obvious. So let me talk about that right now. So first off, on the SPY, the QQ actually looks better than the SPY, but the SPY does look a little bearish. It's like it's bearish and bullish at the same time. It's very confusing because it's bullish because, well, it's a very nice looking candle. It's just a nice green candle, only a very small wick at the bottom, and then just completely pushed up. You know, very solid. You know, just all green pretty much. There's like no wick at the top, and you know, it just really showed that buyers have the control. But with that being said, so that's a bullish, that's a very nice looking bullish candle, but there's also two bearish signals. Number one, you can see there's a double top. If you look at like on the 1 hour, you can see we are essentially sitting at a double top. That's a pretty bearish signal. The fact that it couldn't break higher than this. The candles did close higher, but it couldn't break higher. So that's a little bearish. Number two, the thing that's a little bearish is I'm sure you can see the volume is abysmal, like abysmal. Again, it's not, you don't want to just look at just volume and be like, oh, the volume is low on a run up. That means it's going down. I mean, it very well could mean that, but you obviously want to look at several factors and kind of put it all together into one piece. So that's why we're looking at many, many things. We have one bullish signal, then we have the bearish signal, the double top, which is like a, like an M. Talked about that several times before on Tesla specifically. And of course, we are running higher, quite higher too. This is like a decent run up, but the fact that it ran up like this aggressively on this volume, it just, again, not financial advice, I could be completely wrong, but to me it just screams rug pull for some reason. Not for some reason, but I mean, I just told you the reasons, but it just, there's a gut feeling that's telling me that there is a rug pull incoming. Again, could be completely wrong. It's a very confusing market. It's a very bipolar market. It's extremely difficult to predict at the very moment, which is why I'm kind of staying away from it right now, to be completely honest with you. And I'm only like nibbling on things here and there. I'm not really going heavy on any trades, nothing too crazy. But it's a very confusing market. But again, we have a bullish candle into a bearish signal. The MACD is looking great. The RSI is looking fine. Not great, but not bad. It's looking all right. It's looking pretty decent. But again, the double top and the volume decreasing like this as we're still running up is extremely suspicious. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. Like, compared to like back here where we just ran up from here to here, run, we just kept running up, but look at the volume. As we kept running up, it just kind of kept getting lower, and then as the selling started, the volume got higher, and then we ran up, the volume got lower, and then the selling started higher. It's just, this happened before. It got rug pulled pretty hard. So just keep that in mind. Now, one thing that I wouldn't be surprised to see actually is once the rug pull does happen, which I'm still pretty convinced that it will, I actually wouldn't be surprised if SPY potentially has some room maybe to still like this, this level around here somewhere, this 453 or so. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it rug pulls all the way back down to like 420 something. And the reason I say that is because that will actually form a pretty glorious inverse head and shoulders, which would be a bullish pattern. So essentially, we ran up down here, made this little shoulder here, went up, ran down here, made the head, ran up, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little bit more room, like let's say, I don't know, maybe roughly, maybe like 1%, let's say, like 1%, honestly, at most, in my opinion, maybe tomorrow. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we get rejected, fall back down somewhere to around, this general level, which could also be kind of the retest, somewhere around this general level right here, just like the 420s, somewhere in the 420s, which then would give us the right shoulder, which would set up a beautiful looking head and shoulders, inverse of course, which is the bullish one. And then off of that, we run maybe like in the next month or something like that. That I wouldn't be surprised. That could be a possibility. Just keep that in mind. But again, guys, when a market runs like this, keep in mind, like I always say, when it's constantly going down, you're just naturally going to get an oversold bounce. The flip is true. When the market is running up like this and extremely aggressively, like this is an extremely aggressive run up, you're going to get an overbought bounce to the downside. It's just how things work. So just keep that in mind, guys. The hard part is predicting when. It'll happen. Like I'm 99% sure it'll happen. It's not an if, it's just a when. That's the thing. Can you squeeze out some more profits and some more trades to the upside here? Yeah, probably. Who knows? It's very possible. But keep in mind, guys, the higher it goes, the riskier it becomes to continue trading to the upside, and honestly, even the downside at this rate until like something gets really confirmed that, yeah, we're ready to drop. Anyway, that's kind of the indices because, you know, they obviously reflect Tesla and, you know, how Tesla can move. But talking about Tesla specifically, so Tesla actually did, you know, pretty decent today, considering it's still yet another green day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 green days in a row. Like, just guys, again, be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. Just be careful. Do what you want to do. Not financial advice. Just gonna say, be careful. But with that being said, Tesla did have another green day, which is great. 1.5% essentially to almost $14. Now, it did underperform the QQQ. You can see the QQQ went up 2.22%, while Tesla went up only 1.5% roughly, right? That's, in theory, Tesla should be up about maybe 4-ish percent, give or take, at least 3% minimum, relative to the QQQ, of course. But with that being said, Tesla also has several days where it just severely outperformed the QQQ. So it's not really like necessarily a bad signal that it underperformed the QQQ today, because it did overperform several days in a row as well. So it kind of just, you know, makes sense. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't call that like a bearish or bullish signal. It's just something to keep in mind, just for the sake of it. But the things that I do want to talk about is these candles are very strange. So again, with Tesla, you can see the volume substantially lower compared to these run-ups. Like we were running up on like 27, 35, even 40. And now we're suddenly half of yesterday's volume on essentially a push even higher than yesterday in terms of a closing push, like a closing price push. We didn't go as high, but we closed higher, which is a good sign. That is a good sign. But the fact that it went, or it did that on half the volume, you know, it's a little check mark on the things to be suspicious of. It's not obviously a confirmation that, you know, we're ready to drop or something like that, but it is something to be careful about. So the way you want to look at it is like this. In my opinion, this is actually very easy to read. And the way I would read this is as follows. There's two things, there's about 3 things I would say you would want to watch out for. So number 1 is the 1,000 level. Essentially, as long as Tesla's above 1,000, the chances of it pushing higher to at least a double top up here to 1040, if not higher, is in the place. As long as 1,000 doesn't break consistently, like it can go under, like in today it did go under, but as long as it doesn't consistently break under 1,000 and like stay under 1,000 for like an extended period of time, or like the whole day or something like that, there is a chance that it will run. Now, will it actually get up here? Again, I personally don't think so. It very well might. And again, the thing with Tesla is you never want to bet against Tesla for too long, especially. And I'm obviously a very big bull, but in the short term, in this extremely like trader frenzy market that we're in, I don't think it will. It might, but I don't think it will. And the reason for that is because, again, we ran up on lower volume. We're constantly getting rejected. But again, as long as it is above 1,000, I think there is technically a chance that it can still run up here and maybe even push higher. If it ever drops below 1,000 and breaks under 1,000, then the chances of it finally collapsing and retreating back to like at least this level at first, like 940, 950, between 930 to 950, anywhere in that range, becomes much more obvious, or much more like of a higher chance. So that's the main thing. That's like the number 1 thing you want to look out for, this 1,000 mark. Number 2, if 1,000 breaks, the second level you want to look to like truly confirm the fact that, okay, maybe we're actually ready to finally drop, is a break, I would say, roughly under like 990, 988, somewhere around that general level. If it ever breaks below that, well, then I'd be really careful, because then it's like, okay, we're probably going to drop below that. You can see here, we went to like 988, actually, just exactly at that level. We didn't drop below that. So that's the level I would really watch out for, like, and really eyeball. If we ever drop below that level, well, that's when things can get really spicy. On top of that, this looks like a bear flag to me. Like, I'm sorry, but it really just looks like a bear flag. bear flag. So like a lot of people were, like can argue that it's a bull flag. Oh, we went up, now we're like consolidating and making a bull flag. This is not what, to me, this is not what a bull flag looks like. A bull flag wouldn't have had a drop this aggressive. This aggressive drop is what kind of made the bull flag almost non-existent, and the fact that it couldn't really run up properly also makes this very suspicious, and the fact that it's doing it on lower volume also makes it suspicious to me, because bull flags tend to not look like this. Bull flags at the very, I mean, I guess in theory this could be the bull flag right here. It's more like a bull pennant. But I personally see, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I wanted to drop because I want to buy more. Maybe I'm a little bit biased on that. I don't know. But this to me looks a lot more of a bear flag than a bull flag. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Again, could be wrong. Could be completely wrong. You never know with these markets. This is a very wild market that we're in. Could be something like this as well. But as you can see, it's kind of getting tighter and tighter and tighter. It did explode from here, but it can't pick a direction. It kind of went up, down, all over the place. The contracts, I think, are really playing with it. But I really think that very, very soon, if not tomorrow, we're going to find out where we're going. Tomorrow/Monday, I really think by one of those days, this will tell us if we're actually going to be potentially retesting this level once again, maybe double topping, or if we're finally breaking out to the downside and Tesla's finally going to get some very much needed but healthy breathing room to kind of retest. Now, the question is, if it runs above this, where are we going to go? Well, we're probably going to go up to like somewhere in the high thousands. But I think the better question is, if we drop, where do we drop? So personally, I think it'll be like a double drop, like a 1, 2, 3 drop. And what that means is essentially once this breaks, or once we finally decide to take some breathing room and we fall down, I do think we'll drop to this general level right here for sure. Like very, very high chance we'll pretty much drop almost straight to this level, like 950, 940, maybe 930, anywhere in that range. I'll be looking to buy, not financial advice, to swing it, because I don't think that's the bottom. What I think will happen is we'll drop down to this level, probably bounce up, go back up to like the, high-ish 900s, maybe even 1,000 if we're lucky, but probably closer to like the 980 level. Bounce up there and then probably drop one more time. So it'll be like a 1, 2, 3. And then I think we'll drop down to this level here. That's personally what I'm projecting. If I had to just take a wild guess right now. When will it happen? I don't know. My guess is it'll probably start tomorrow or very early next week. That's my guess. But again, hard to predict for sure in this kind of market. But again, when you only have green like this, you got to be very careful. But the reason I predict that is because this would also perfectly align with retesting at the very least this teal line. So it'll be like a 1, 2, 3 drop. That's what I think will happen, because it will be a bounce here. I'm very confident there will be most likely a bounce. There's a chance it won't. There's a chance we just plummet straight through. Very much of a high chance, which if that happens, will bounce off the T line, pretty much guaranteed in my opinion, 99%, not financial advice. Probably run back up to this level and then drop back down to retest the red line. That's the other option. I think one of those will happen. Which one? We don't know for sure yet. But again, either we drop to 950, 940, bounce up to like the high-ish 900s, and then drop back down to retest the teal line or the red line. Or we drop straight down to the teal line, bounce back up to this level, and then bounce back down to probably the red line, which will be like in the mid to low 800s. One of those will happen. I don't know which one. We'll see as it happens, of course. Who knows? We'll see. We have to kind of, go with the flow essentially. But I am predicting one of those two scenarios to play out. We'll see which one it is once it, of course, starts happening. But that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. Again, this lower volume is a little bit suspicious. The candle itself is weird. It's bearish and bullish at the same time. The wick underneath is very long, which is good. The wick at the top is also very long, and the closing price and the opening price is very close to each other, so it's not really a hammer. When the closing price and the opening price are very close to each other, that usually signals a reversal. Now, it's not ridiculously close. Like if it was like exactly on top of it almost, then that would be pretty much almost like a guaranteed reversal signal. The fact that there's still a bit of a candle like this, you can see, means that it's not like super guaranteed, which is why it's very difficult to read. But you can see that Tesla is definitely starting to slow down a bit. So we'll see what happens, guys. But again, those are the levels I watch out for. As long as 1,000 holds, I'd watch for potentially a 1040, and then see what happens at 1040. It could be a double top. If it breaks, then we can potentially run a bit higher. If it doesn't, then I would watch for 1,000 to break under, and then especially somewhere around this 988 or so level to break under that, and then potentially fall even lower than that, and especially 978. 988 to 978, definitely watch out for that area to confirm a drop to like 940-ish. That's it for this video. These videos are very long, my goodness, I'm sorry. But there's just too much to talk about. This market is ridiculous, but exciting. Kind of weird. But either way, let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. Peace.